Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys had a wonderful holiday weekend and got to spend time with your friends and family. Today I am back out in the garden and I wanted to bring you guys along, show you the progress, that kind of thing. And I'm going to be doing some direct sowing of a few kinds of seeds today. So I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys along so you guys could see exactly what I do when I am planting seeds directly into the garden, because I do have a Back to Eden style garden with a deep wood chip bed on top. So I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys along in case you're curious about this method of gardening and you just want to see kind of how that all works. So I've got a few kinds of seeds that I'm going to be putting in today, which is going to be some of my cucumber seeds. I'm going to be doing a couple types of watermelon. I think I have two kinds here. And I'm going to be growing these this year, which is the honeydew melon, a type of honeydew. These I think are a little bit smaller. I can't remember, but these are a 98-day to harvest, it says. So I thought that would be pretty cool to grow in the garden. Never grown it before, but I wanted to try some different kinds of melons and kind of smaller melons compared to the watermelon, because those can be kind of a pain after you've cut up your fourth or fifth one. So yeah, I'm going to be putting these in. Oh, and I'm going to be throwing in some borage seeds. I had 3 or 4 borage plants last year in the back of the garden and up here in the herb garden. And usually they will go ahead and self-seed and come back up, but I'm not seeing any coming up yet. And I just want to make sure that I have borage in the garden. So I'm just going to go ahead and reseed them. They do prefer to be direct sown anyways, so it's perfect timing. I just want to make sure that I definitely have some borage in the garden this year. So let's go ahead and get started. Why don't we start with the honeydew melon, because that is one that I'm super excited about. So we will go back and I will show you the method that I use to plant seeds in the deep wood chips. Okay, so this is the row that I am going to be planting the honeydew melon, and it is right behind the onions, and the green peppers are down here at this end, and we have more onions over here and lettuce. So I have tons of space, actually way more than I'm going to need. So I might have to come up with something else to also put in here. But that is beside the point. So typically in my garden, I like to put flowers down both ends of the rows. So I usually leave 1 to 2 foot at the end of my row just to put either some kind of marigold, or sometimes I like to put calendula in there as well. It's not really a plant that necessarily wards off pests, but it will, they tend to kind of attack the calendula over the plant sometimes. So it's kind of a good trap to have. And also they're just so prolific. They have so many flowers, and I love to harvest them for my apothecary. So I love having calendula, and they're absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? Especially I have strawberry blonde, that's my favorite. But anyway, so I'm going to allow a couple foot here at the end, and then I'm going to go ahead and start planting the seeds. So it's really, really fast. It's not as complicated as some people might think it is. So I actually have my water lines on right now. So you might see some water coming out of my water lines. I bury them directly under the wood chips. They're pretty much on top of the dirt, but under the wood chips. That way it keeps the direct sun off of the plastic, because when they get really hot in the sun, they tend to warp and go up and down and move all over the place. And so I found that it's much better for them if they're under the wood chips and kept out of the direct light as much as possible. And also it kind of, if you have them on and you have rodents that have access to your garden, they might want to come and drink out of it and stuff like that, or chew on them. So yeah, I find that it's best to bury my water lines. So we might have some water coming out right here, but it should be fine. So I'm just gonna put like my first one about right here, and it literally just takes a second. I just use my hands. I don't need any other tools. And just like that, our bare soil is exposed and it looks really nice. Wow, and there's worms here. So that's nice. Got a nice little worm. And usually I check to find my water line. If I'm not seeing it, I'll see where it is. So there it is. It's about right here, a little bit to the front of this row. So I'm going to plant the seed directly behind that water line. So here is one thing that I like to use, and it's pretty much just for my benefit, and you don't have to use this. It's totally optional. But I found this out last year to keep, if you watched my videos, the troubles that I was having with, if you are planting weak starts, or you have a weak or sickly plant that's struggling, that's when the insects really know to come and eat that plant. So I had roly-polies or my bug last year that was devouring my struggling starts that I had put in. They are never an issue. I have tons of roly-poly, those little roly bugs. I have tons of those in my soil, and they never cause an issue unless there is a plant that is either diseased or struggling for some reason or another, and then they tend to chop those plants right off and actually go after those. So that was my problem last year, and I was able to stop them from doing that with these. So this is just a clear cup like you would have at a party or a picnic or something like that. It is a little bit smaller, I think, than most people would get, but these were the cheaper ones, and these are the off-brand ones. I bought a ton of them, so I got the cheapest ones, but I cut the bottoms off. So these were pretty short little cups, not full-sized, but you could get the bigger ones if you want to spend the money or you don't need as many as I needed. But I just used my utility knife and cut the ends off. So this is open on the bottom, and it is just like a ring, like a collar. And I'm going to use this collar around small starts that might be prone to attack by something like the roly-poly, because they can't climb over it and they don't realize to go under it for whatever reason. So that was able to save those plants. But I also like these to mark where I put my seed in the ground. And also I feel like it helps if you're watering it from above instead of like a water line. If you want to come and water with, say, your watering can or the spray hose, and this just kind of helps keep that seed in place so you don't accidentally drown it or wash it away. It'll kind of keep that right there, and then you can see it and you know where to water. So because when you have a huge garden, a huge space, it can be hard to know exactly where you put the seed, so you just water the whole thing. And yeah, so I really like to use this method, but it's totally optional, you guys. So now that I have the soil exposed, again, other than my rambling on and on, this only took a second to unbury, and we only needed our hand. So I'm just gonna hold this and push it down, kind of rotate in so that it's just under the soil as much as I need. I'm gonna put it again right by that water line, and then I just poke a hole with my finger to however, depending on what seed I'm planting. So we're doing the honeydew melon again. So this on the package says 1/2 inch deep. So I poke my finger roughly 1/2 inch in, and typically I like to put 2 seeds per hole, because just in case, you never know. If you know that whatever you're planting has not the greatest of germination rate. You could add more. If you know that you have a great germination rate, just put one. But I just like to put 2 for good measure. And I just drop them in, and then I use my fingers kind of like this to evenly pull that dirt back on top. And you know, because if you go side to side, you might push the seeds over. So I like to just use my fingers to lightly put the dirt back on. And then I hold that in place and I gently push the wood chips up to the edge of that cup. That way, as little soil is exposed to the air as possible. I don't put wood chips back on top of where that seed is in the ground. So I find that without the cup, you really have to expose a lot more soil, because when it rains, at least here, I'm in northern Michigan, northwest Michigan, and when it rains, we get serious rain, and it could easily wash away a new seed. I feel like this helps to keep it in place, but also when I have my wood chips pulled back, whenever it rains, I come back out and the wood chips are always pushed back on top where I don't want them. I want that seed to be able to germinate and come right up without having the pressure, the weight of the wood chips on top of them. So the cup around there as that collar helps to keep those wood chips back. They can't come back on top of it and cover it up. But yet I have very little dirt that has to be exposed. So that's why I like it. It's just a little bit of a hack, I suppose you could say. Something that I discovered and kind of invented, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, so that is just the method that I use. You can use it too if you want, or don't. That's cool too. But let's see. These say a plant spacing of 18 inches apart. So I am going to eyeball that and just say that that'll be roughly about right here. So again, let's go ahead and remove that dirt until we see, or remove the wood chips till we see the dirt. Very easy. And then that water line, find that water line. It's a little bit deep right here actually, but right here in the front. And look, there's another worm. You stay there. And here's a roly-poly. All right, so I found that water line, and I want that, I want to put the seed right here to the back of that water line. Excuse me, wormy. So again, grab one of my little rings, and I just twist and gently push so that it's into the dirt like that. Press about a ½ inch in. And then I'm going to put 2 seeds. Whoops. And then again, just push that dirt from both sides gently back on top. Cover that up. Okay. And that is all set. And then once I get all of them planted, I come back with my watering can to water them in nice. The cup also, if you have soil where the water tends to, when you water, it just kind of runs off. It takes a second for it to go in. The cup is really nice because you can pour a smaller amount of water and it holds it right there at the seed, and it will give it time to absorb into the ground instead of just kind of running off, which can be a real pain. All right, so let's get you guys closer so you can see a little bit closer up, and then we will get to move in and get these all planted. All right, so our next one will go about right here. I just pull them wood chips back so you can see the exposed soil. Okay. And then I like to find my water line. It's right here. See that? Some wormies. Love seeing worms. All right, so I'm gonna put it, excuse me, wormies. All right, so I'm gonna put my little cup right here. excuse me. I just wiggle like that until it's in. So you can see what that looks like. And then I use my finger to just poke down about 1/2 inch. And then we drop those 2 seeds in there. Okay, and then I just use my fingers to plop the dirt back on top, and we are all done. Push the wood chips back up. Again, we don't want the wood chips on top of where the seeds are planted. So we don't actually put them back in. If they are over your cup, like right here, I'm just going to push them kind of out of the way because I don't want a whole bunch of them going into that cup. All right, and when we get done, we'll come back and put a little bit of water in these. All right, you guys, so that is all there is to it. That's kind of my trick on how I like to plant my seeds when I direct sow them into the garden, into the wood chips. It's pretty easy, pretty quick, and it really helps to keep that soil around your plant nice and wet. It helps to, if you have problems like me, where if I pull too much of the wood chips back, I get lots of bird activity in there. Typically, it's like robins coming to dig for worms. So that keeps the soil nice and cool and moist, and it doesn't attract birds and things like that to the area where they're going to dig in the dirt looking for worms. Yeah, but it works for me. I really like it. If you guys try it out, let me know what you think about it, if it was easy for you, and maybe later on how it was, how it helped your seeds when they were germinating. I forgot. I gonna say about it? Oh yeah. So once your plants have germinated and you actually have little sprouts there, you can leave the little collars around them for the entire season if you want to. Or, you know, I have left tons of them on. Some of them, if I'm out here and paying attention, I'll go ahead and slip those off. So it's up to you whether you want to take them off right when they come up and you don't need them anymore, or you can, yeah, take them off, leave them on, whatever you prefer. Typically, it's nice to pull them off. I just gently pull it off over the plant before it's too big to fit. I just slide it off and then push those wood chips back up against the stem of the plant as soon as you can. But don't worry if you didn't get to it, you missed it, and now the plant is too big to take it off. Just leave it there all season. It won't be a problem at all. You could even put some wood chips inside of the cup and you'll be good to go. So no worries either way. I've done it both ways. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If it benefited you, make sure that you hit the like and share with family and friends. I would greatly appreciate it. It would help my channel out a bunch. So thank you guys for stopping by, and I will see you guys again real soon. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.